There's a little toy peeking out. I can see it over here. What I'm going to talk about today is conceptually, thematically, maybe dark or sad. And that's where the words don't meet the experience. That's where stories really can go absolutely anywhere and go nowhere near the truth of what's being reminisced about or recreated or played. Like, it's storytelling, and it's beautiful. And in doing this and in speaking, the conditioning can still rustle here of, doesn't this feel dark? Aren't these topics and these things that you say going to be depressing? Who's going to want to listen? And good thing that that is not leading the show, because it would totally change what I talked about. And it's noticed that the conditioning comes up and is trying to make a thing out of a non-thing. And when that happens, there's fear. Fear is part of the separation process. And so aliveness in this moment doesn't feel fear. It feels the ground under my feet. It feels the breeze that has the nip in it, and the goosebumps on the legs, the sun in contrast, the dog barking. Cardinal that just landed. Sometimes we hurt. Sometimes there's pain. And the emotion that wells up in this moment of naming that is love, not sadness, actually. Although sadness is welcome and happens when there's pain, it's not unusual. And it doesn't matter that we can or can't try to discreetly name an emotion, but the love that comes up for all of us who hurt, when we hurt, how we hurt. And isn't it so unavoidable? And isn't it so hard to just let that love be felt when our loved ones are hurting and we want to make it go away? Or when we're hurting and we want to make it go away? Yeah, it's this tenderness of love for the human experience of it. And the animal experience, obviously, clearly, incredibly, when they're suffering. Of an animal without the filters of separation. The love for that being's life is so transcendent. And in this moment, there's a particular love for a human experiencing suffering. That even in every attempt to fix or avoid or repurpose or repackage or deny, the hurt is still alive when it's alive. Even when it's not felt, it's still felt. Conditioning just doesn't realize it. And then that process is wrapped up in hurt as well. And I think that there might be, well, what do I know? I know that when my conditioning separates out and feels threatened by hurt and loss, when it sees my body changing and aching or throbbing or not functioning, sadness and fear, in some part is self-preservational. The grief of loss of who I am, the fear of loss of who I am, the excruciating grappling with who I need to be, which is very different. Experiencing hurt through separation is very dark, is very unpleasant, is wrought with inner conflict and entanglement and self-loathing, external loathing. Whereas when that's not dictating, when that's not covering things, there is just a seeing that hurt happens. It's part of this. You don't need a story of why. That's just going to feed the separation. Because then there's a subject to the why and object of the why. It just is when it is and how it is, and then it's gone. And it's the same kind of love I feel when I feel love for anything. Love for my family, love for this planet, love for active kindness, love towards tragedy. The love of just this precious, alive, awake life expressing itself in just this way, and this being, whoever it is, however they are, that's hurting. The incredible affection of just stripping everything else away, the pure experience of being able to hurt. Nothing else is needed on top of that. Nothing else is necessary. When hurt is there, it's there. And yet there's so many things that get added that feel that they're necessary. And if they're happening in that moment, they are necessary, because that is the unfolding. It's a mystery because it's necessary if it's happening, and in this moment, the only moment, and now this moment, and now this moment, and now this moment, the unfolding of awakeness when and as it's seen changes everything. And the love at the center of the bud has already been there, always been there, and it's seen. All the layers extending and falling off. And then just seeing itself. Pure suffering. Pure hurt. Sometimes we hurt. There's no escaping that in this process of awakening, of spiritual. I always struggle with the words around spirituality, because here I am talking about it, and I don't belong to any group. I don't claim to subscribe to anything, and no one's going to take my spiritual authority over my spirit away from me by trying to fit me into a label or a box. Like, so the words are going to come out and they're going to be misunderstood. Maybe the energy and the expression will be understood. The words probably won't, but I don't care. There can never be a running away from hurt. The first arrow kind of hurt, the first experience of pain that is not added to by conditioning. And it's the identity's job and the identification process's job to get rid of hurt, even in subtle ways. And so as soon as we can notice that we're trying to run from the unavoidable hurt of being alive, being in this world, constant change, as soon as we can stop running away from that, we can be free in a certain way, not from the hurt, but we can realize that we actually weren't free and maybe thought we were. Talking about this isn't at all sad or depressing to me. It's enlivening. The love is felt, the life is felt and honored and respected, and it is our teacher. I have nothing new to say. Sometimes we hurt.